So I wanted to thank you for joining us and bring together the APC and physician component for our well-being council. We wanted to express gratitude to our facilitators and say thank you for joining us in conversation about reigniting and keeping the flame alive at different career stages. Thanks to all of you on behalf of the core team of Physician and APC Wellbeing. And we are happy to invite you into the conversation. The goal of the webinar is to build awareness of the evolving Advocate Aurora health initiatives, many of which related to well-being and preventing the burnout, but also to elicit the feedback and input from all of you in a safe space where we will facilitate the conversation with many talented speakers. I wanted to thank our co-chair of the webinar, Dr. Randy Levin, who's joining us here, and give him a moment to introduce himself.
Thank you, Mila, and thank you to the team that's helped put this together. I just want to real quick say, if you look at that flyer, you'll see about nine colleagues there, and 9 or 10. And what that brings to me is that the message, you are not alone. We are here together as a group to help each other. And basically, that's all I want to say. It's going to be a great opportunity to be able to tell us your story. So back to you, Mila.
Thank you. As a group of 3 people 7 years ago, Kathy, Bender, Lisa, who has since left the system, and I dreamed about this system where well-being is a preventative measure, where burnout is an emergency we respond to. I'm so happy to introduce Kathy, and we wanted to give you the timeline so you have an idea of the next 15 to 20 minutes. Reverend Bender Schwick and Dr. Frank will present, but then we're going to have 15 minutes for breakout groups, and we're going to have time to reconnect here. As I introduce Reverend Kathy Bender Schwick, I wanted to sing the accolades to her because she really has been an amazing supporter and champion and co-champion of well-being. We have come from 3 people speaking to a large crowd of whys to a large army of people saying yes and I think that without Kathy, that would not be possible. Kathy, we're so grateful to have you. Please take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Felder, and it's been a privilege for me to walk this journey with you and so many others who are so committed to our work in well-being. I'd like to begin today with a brief reflection for our well-being. Often we've been told that if we just take a pause during our workday, be it a pause to take a deep breath, a pause to take a quick walk, just to reflect, it can help bring some well-being to our day. So the length of a pause isn't as important as what you decide to do during that pause. A few seconds can turn a pause into an exquisite moment of presence, meaning, or purpose. And I'd like to invite us today to pause to consider the word awe, or the act of being in awe. So our focus for the day is awe. Awe expands our perception of time, it can rejuvenate us, and it can invite us into expansiveness. Next. So I ask, what ways have you found that help you experience awe during your day? And if we can go to the next slide, I invite you for this time of reflection to enter into a moment of awe. Right now, take a moment to pause, to look around, to think, to remember. Look around you. Maybe you're in a clinical setting right now. Look around you at the gifted, dedicated colleagues you're working with, at the place where you're working. If you're in a home office or in your home, look around outside at the beauty of nature. But then also think about those times when you as a clinician were maybe thinking that you're just doing your job, but you indeed had a profound impact on another's life and health and family because you were there at that very moment to make a difference, to do what you had been called to do, to live out your purpose. And then remember why you went into medicine in the first place. Maybe your dream was to help others. Maybe it was to bring an end to certain illness or disease. Maybe it was to change the world or to impact your corner of it. But remember that and then reconnect with that why and celebrate the many ways you do so and stand in awe of that at this moment. And while you do that, know that many are in awe of you and all that you do each day. So with that reflection, I would like to then discuss a little bit our AAH Wellbeing Council that I have the privilege to be executive lead for. I hope that many of you are already familiar with this, but our Wellbeing Council is a system-wide interdisciplinary team working to create an organizational culture focused on team member and physician well-being, enhancing safety and overall engagement. The council consists of 9 core teams focused on 3 different areas: supporting personal resilience, developing a culture, a system culture of well-being, and then improving organizational systems and processes to promote that culture of well-being. And I invite you to visit aahwellbeing.org and click on the council to learn more about the council. But we're going to do a little bit deeper dive into each of the core teams. They are in 3 focus areas, if you will. One on personal resilience, and in that we have core teams working on bolstering individual well-being. What can I do to take better care of myself? And also spiritual well-being and reconnecting to our purpose and our why. You don't have to be a religious person to focus on, obviously, spiritual well-being and connecting to purpose, and so that's what that focuses on. Under developing a culture of well-being, we have core teams focused on building social community, how we can better interact with each other as people, developing leaders, our journey to zero suicide, which began as a journey focused on our patients, but now has expanded to focus on our team members and physicians and APCs as well. Our Together as One peer support program, where we're learning to be there in support of each other in new ways. Our site physician and advanced practice clinician well-being core team that Dr. Felder and Dr. Lavora lead, and supporting those impacted by serious safety events. And then we have one core team, just one, but with a lot of focus that we'll look at on efficiency of practice, making the clinicians' practice more efficient so that you have more life outside of work as well, rather than having it take up all of your time. So let's go ahead and look a little bit more closely at each of these. The core team on bolstering individual well-being is focused on a variety of areas, from self-care, physical, emotional, and mental wellness, nutrition and healthy eating, bringing in some of our healthy living work, spiritual wellness, financial wellness, caregiver support, and again, together as one peer support. And I'll point out that I'm lifting these core teams up not only to make you aware of resources that are out there for you in supporting your own well-being, but also if part of your connecting to purpose or why is I have a passion about one of these and I want to get more involved in this area of figuring out how to provide resources and support to my colleagues, we have a space for you and would welcome your participation. So the next core team is spiritual well-being and connecting to purpose. And hopefully you've seen some of these. We provide everything from in-person to virtual check-in times that are everything from 15 minutes to a full day in length. They're facilitated, or we provide you with resources to do that on your own. We have some scheduled throughout the day and the week, but we also provide them on demand for you or your team if you want to request one of these. And they can be individual, as I say, or team-based. And this can all be arranged also through the aahwellbeing.org site under our mission and spiritual care team. Next, site physician and APC well-being. Key initiatives there are best practice sharing, webinar planning, narrative medicine, which is really taking off across the system, using narration, writing to help support one's well-being in medicine. Site well-being committee toolkit development, helping sites nurture and create their own well-being committees. And again, these resources are on the aahwellbeing.org site. Next, our peer support program. Again, our goal is to roll this out for 30% or more of our entire workforce, physicians, clinicians, team members, but training each other to know how to be there in support of a colleague right there in real time. We've heard from physicians and some clinicians that the 4-hour training is a bit lengthy, so we are working to pare that down so that it better meets your needs. Again, trying to be very responsive to the needs of our physicians and APCs, but we do provide CEUs for that training. Next slide. Building social community. Get together in areas of interest that aren't necessarily related to medicine. We have 4 that we're piloting right now: Healthy Living Champions, our Narrative Medicine group, Women Physicians Book Club, and our Environmental Sustainability, folks who are committed to taking care of creation and creating a greener environment. We are open to suggestions for other Yammer communities as well, and you'll have opportunity at the end of my slide to give us some other ideas. Next slide. Efficiency of practice. I told you this was one core team with a lot of areas of focus, and here you see them. Everything from order entry, note creation, coding, external paperwork, EPIC education, med reconciliation, call center standardization. These are all things we know that they're areas of frustration, and we want to create more sense of efficiency of practice to avoid the extra hassle and stress that our clinicians experience. This group is led by Dr. Scott Boskel, and I know that he will warmly welcome any others who would like to be a member of this core team to help address some of these concerns. Next slide. So, here is your opportunity to give us other ideas about things we could be doing. If you're interested, if it connects to your purpose to be part of one of these to help us address some of these issues, please let us know. Fill out the survey by scanning the code or clicking on the link. We do want to hear from you. This is a work in progress because as your needs change, we are here to try to address them. We have many colleagues involved in this work, and we would welcome you joining us as well. So thanks so much for the time to bring this to your attention today.
Thank you so much, Kathy. As always, your messaging is so powerful, and we appreciate it dramatically. I think that it's going to be really important as we build the well-being within the system for every clinician and team member, that we continue to go back to why we're doing it and go back to the purpose. And in that regard, I'm beyond excited to introduce Dr. Frank Labora. He's a Milwaukee native and serves as the Chief Medical Officer for Greater Milwaukee. He's got a tremendous passion for physician and provider wellness and well-being. And most recently, he joined me as a co-chair of the core team for physician and APC well-being. Frank, it's so nice to have you, and I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for allowing me to participate in today's discussion and really share my journey along to how I reconnected to my why. You're going to find in my presentation, I like to have a little bit of humor. However, I do not want to not share the importance of wellness and how much wellness means to me. So when I looked at this and I was preparing, and I thought this is really a privilege and honor to be able to share my journey. When I looked at myself, I said, what is my purpose? On the left, normally how I am, my hair is on fire, I'm running around crazy. And then on the right is when I'm at work trying to do my best. But what is my purpose? Am I a husband, a father, a son, an uncle, a friend, colleague, mentor, activist, physician, philanthropist, wellness advocate? And I highlight wellness advocate because I think that's the reason that we're all here. We're looking how we can improve our wellness, kind of bring back the the pleasures and the best of medicine, the reasons why we went into healthcare regarding what level, whether you're on the physician side, the advanced practice clinician side, the allied healthcare side as myself, and whatnot. We're all part of a team and we're part of something larger. And what can we do? What can I do to present my why to move this movement forward? So I asked myself, what's missing? What's missing with this purpose? How do I get to my why? So what is my typical work day? No different than any one of you or any of you. It's stressful. You start early in the morning and sometimes you work pretty much late into the evening. But what's missing in that? You arrive at your office, you have your meetings, you see your patients, you prep for your patients, you prep for the difficult meetings, you prep for the difficult patients that you're going to be seeing. You're seen as a leader, you're working to the top of your licenses and really trying to get through this. But what are we missing? What's missing in all this? And when I look and I reflect upon myself, what I feel as though I'm missing is my purpose. I have to go back to my purpose and why am I here? What am I trying to do? And how am I trying to be the best person that I can possibly be? I look at several things. I look at communication. I look at, do I have time for myself? I look at, again, what is that initial purpose and how do I always focus myself to get back to that? Next slide, please. So I use some examples. And these are examples I want everybody to know, these are my examples. I'm more of an extroverted person, so I get a lot of my energy from all of you, from the people that surround me. That's where I get my internal energy and where it's best focused. Not everybody is extroverted. So some of these things that I'm going to discuss today, they may not resonate with some of you, and that's okay. There are some individuals that like more time to themselves and try to unwind that way. And there's nothing wrong with this. All I'm doing today is just showing you what helps for me. And what I found in my journey is communication. Today, for myself, we're more isolated. What we do is at lunchtime, we tend to sit in our office, eat our sandwich, do our notes either in Epic or we're preparing for our next meetings, and we stay pretty much hibernated in our office. Whereas years prior, we might have gone down to the lunchroom, we might have gone to the area where other physicians and team members eat lunch. There might have even been a presentation from one of the pharmaceutical reps that were there. But it gave us the opportunity to share some of our feelings. So people understood, hey, Frank, what's going on with your two daughters? I know one of your daughters is in school. How is she doing? And vice versa, and having that conversation back. Because when I'm in my room and I'm just sitting by myself or eating my lunch by myself, people don't understand what I may be going through in the background. I might have a family member that's not well, or I may have a dealing with a situation with a loved one that people may not know. So I look at some of these things as some of the loss of opportunity to build trust, to build relationships with one another, and really help get support for myself, but also give support for others. So I look at opportunities where we can break out of our hibernation and look at how can we build relationships. Let's talk with other individuals. Let's establish the trust of knowing back and forth. Maybe so-and-so is more quiet because they're going through a more difficult time in their life. Those types of perceptions. And then I sit back and say to myself, we're all here for a purpose, to provide exemplary care for our patients. And that's why we went into medicine. We understand those sacrifices, we make those exceptions, and we do what we can do. But if we could put a little bit of fun back in what we do, there might be value there. And how can we put some fun back in the practice? I'm just gonna, the next slide, please. I look at technology, and this is a picture that my daughter took of me and my wife at breakfast saying, wow, nothing like talking to one another. And I think sometimes we use technology to a fault. We send epic messages. We send email messages. We hesitate sometimes to pick up the phone and say, hey, how are you doing today? I know that, yesterday we talked and just wanted to see how you're doing today. Those little things mean so much. Next slide. Putting some fun back into work. COVID was not a help. I repeat, COVID was certainly not a help. And we have to recognize our safe care promises that we all live and believe in. However, as the mandates change and as we can start bringing some things back, putting together, getting together with physicians, having some conferences that are outside of the office, really bringing back that enjoyment into practice is just so beneficial for everybody. It just breeds, just good perception and really getting to know one another. And that's how I keep my inner self intact. This is kind of more of the end of my presentation. I really wanted to present something that was open and high level so we can sit down and really have a good dialogue and talk. And at this time, I welcome Mila back. And again, thank you all very much for allowing me to share my journey. Sharing it makes me feel better and makes me more connected. So again, big thank you to everybody.
I wanted to ask everyone to, in the moment of gratitude, started with Kathy, thank with me both Dr. Labora and Kathy Bender-Schwick. This is a great beginning of the conversation that will follow. As I wanted to welcome everyone back. I was able to just really quickly hop into every group, and I think that there was really meaningful conversation. We wanted to welcome our facilitators to bring back some of the highlights of what the conversation brought out, and then to summarize it.
We had a very nice discussion, and the folks in the late career room were people who several had already transitioned out of their official clinical practice, and several are anticipating and planning their change out of clinical practice. What the common theme that I saw that was really inspiring is that all the folks, regardless of what their plans were, had some ideas and plans that they've already started to continue to maintain a giving, sharing spirit and a helping spirit. So whether it was to mentor their colleagues or to help create value in healthcare, that passion for helping others and facilitating the care through other means was there. Teaching was also another thing that came up. So I found it very, very refreshing that folks at our late stage of career have already investigated and planned of how to keep their passion alive, their purpose alive. So that's what we learned in our room.
Thank you, Barb.
In the mid-career, we can give it a try, and Ziki's going to correct me here. It was about sharing and educating. That there were several examples of changes in life, and a couple of them were kids getting older, what you find yourself, they're not at home. And there was this sense of control that maybe we have at work and we have more of control or less control, but they're very similar to at home, that is a very moving kind of experience. And then transitioning to leadership. So there was thoughts about the council that it would be important to give a forum where people in mid-career that possibly are looking into helping the well-being of others that they have an opportunity to share with people what they're going through in private, obviously, and then to share best techniques of how to address those stresses or how to be resilient. Ziki, there were a couple other ones. Do you want to point out any other feedback from the group?
Yeah, I thought wonderful summary, Tom. Thank you. And, we had a few people from the ER environment, which I think all that don't work in the ER, I consider that a very stressful environment. And what they do to consider themselves connecting back to the why is essentially asking the question why in multiple levels, right? Why am I so angry right now? Or why am I so stressed out? And getting to the multiple levels and boiling it down to why did I even come in here today and what is my job at this bedside at this moment? I thought that was really good that they are, so persistent in pursuing that answer, with multiple layers. So that was good. And then I think you brought that up, Tom, the uncertainty, when you're in the middle of your career, you're very, very well established in the many things that you have already accomplished, but then you have a lot of uncertainty about your future. And the fear of failing, right, does not grow old. It starts as a medical student, and I think it goes all the way to retirement, and so how do you deal with that and honing that back to the sense of purpose and connecting yourself to the team that supports you and that you support, I think is a very big sort of pathway to the answer of the why.
And I'll add a third, appreciating the positive effect we have on others. So sometimes we forget about that and staying connected and keeping track for ourselves in a way that we do make a difference.
I can share out from the resident and early career group. We talked a lot about finding the ability to give yourself grace in your practice. That, residency and like your early career is very dynamic and very transient, and applying those things to what your why is. That a lot of times, you have like these big lofty career goals and, you want to change the world, but that's maybe not going to happen today or tomorrow or this month or this year. But if you keep chipping away at at those goals that, in 10 or 15 years, you're going to get to where you want to go, but allowing that process to be dynamic and transient and giving yourself grace in all of that.
Well, we're coming close to the time to say goodbye for today. I think that we had a lot of great conversations, independent of the size of the group. I think the meaning and the importance of keeping that flame alive came through. I wanted to give a moment to Randy to share his thoughts. We only have a couple of minutes. And then I wanted to thank every single one of you, whether you're a speaker, thank you, Kathy and Dr. Lavora, Kathy Vanderschwick and Dr. Frank Lavora. Thank you to our facilitators in every group. We know how busy you are, and thank you for making this a priority. And of course, to all the people that joined us. Randy?
Yeah, thank you, Mila, for your comments. And it's hard for me even to say what I'm feeling right now. It is just amazing. 16 years ago, I left active practice because of complete burnout. I was completely blocked from who I was as a healer, compassionate, empathetic healer. And that's where this particular journey started. And to hear and to see what we've done today is just amazing. And the webinar itself, the topic all, comes together based on the team that is helping put it together. But what makes it successful are you attendees, my colleagues, for being here and to connecting to who you are. Don't ever forget who you are inside. That special spirit is always there. Connect to it, stay connected to it, reconnect to it. And God bless you all. It's just amazing. Let's keep, this is us, we're moving forward. We're moving forward. Thank you.
There's a round of applause you may not be able to hear to everyone here with us today. We are grateful for the opportunity to share thoughts and feelings. Looking forward to the next webinar and your ideas for what that should look like and maybe your participation. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Great weekend. Remember to keep that flame alive. We are grateful for you. Thanks, everyone.